let's turn to Collin McHugh's retirement announcement because we talked about visiting with Collin. We're going to do that in a moment. But first, here's the message that he put out after a great career. 16 years later, it's finally time for me to hang him up. And as cringy as it might sound, I'm proud of myself. Proud that I didn't give up. Proud of the clubhouses I've been lucky enough to have a locker in. Proud to be a member of the MLBPA alongside this generation of amazing ball players. Nice sentiments. And Collin went on to say this: to the Mets, Rockies, Astros, Red Sox, Rays, and my hometown Braves, thanks for taking a chance on a kid like me. I'll never forget it. And don't worry, I'm pretty sure I'll be around the game forever. So if we see each other at a park near you, come say hey. We're going to say hey to Collin right now in retirement. Congratulations on a great run, my friend. I'm sure this decision did not come easy for you because there would have been opportunities for you to continue plying your craft. So walk us through the thought process and tell us how you're feeling today.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. I think that's fair to say at this point. 15 plus years, 11 years in the big leagues. And, I've had an opportunity to play with so many great players under so many great coaches and some incredible organizations. And, sometimes you just got to pinch yourself and be like, did this really happen? But it's time to move forward. I'm a dad to 2 little kids, and I can't wait to be a little bit or just around as much as possible with them.
Collin, Dan O'Dowd, following up on that, congratulations on an incredible career. I wish I saw what the Astros saw in Colorado with you, because I certainly missed on you, and that's one of many, by the way. But what is the next step? You're obviously exceptionally bright, very articulate. Have you thought about what you want to do next?
I want to stay around the game as much as possible. And I think for me, there's a lot of different places that you can kind of insert yourself maybe. But for me, I love being around players. I love being close to the field. It's something that, since I was as young as I can possibly remember, being out on a baseball field was the most important thing to me. So the idea now that I'm not going to be there is a little strange, but maybe up in the booth, maybe on the field, maybe around the locker room. I told all my teammates and friends around the game, I'm not going to be a stranger, so I'll be around.
Yeah, looking at your career, I'm just fascinated. Something clicked in 2014 when you went to Houston. You totally changed your pitch mix. You kind of went away from your fastball. You started throwing your 2 different kind of breaking balls, which are both above average, but both uniquely different. Was that you arriving at that, or was it the Astros who sat you down and said, let me show you some things?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think there is a natural evolution to pitchers, especially I was 25, 26, 27, but by the time I got to the Astros, I was 27, had been in the big leagues for a couple of years. To be fair to you, Dan, I stunk in Colorado. I was not good. And so to be able to continue to get a little bit better every year, I think is the goal. I always tell young guys that just get a little bit better every year. You don't have to be a Hall of Famer right now. And for me, I was able to kind of refine some things. I went down to Venezuela right before I got picked up at the Astros, and that helped a lot. You're facing big league talent down there in tough environments, and I had to learn to kind of pitch to that environment. And so when I came back to the big leagues, I had done a couple things different in terms of throwing a few more cutters, some high heaters. And then obviously to get around a guru like Brent Strom is, an opportunity that every pitcher in the big league dreams of. So, for me to be able to sit down with him and really go through game plans and pitch shaping and, perceived velocity, which is something I'd never heard before. Stromy was and still is one of my best friends in the game. And, I'm so proud of what he's been able to do in Arizona, taking that team to where they are. And then Kyle Snyder down in Tampa, I think to me, he's probably the best communicator in terms of how to get the most out of guys, both analytically and biomechanically. So I've been really fortunate to be around some guys who made me better. And, you still got to get guys out at the end of the day. So, I was fortunate enough to do that.
Yeah, hey, Collin, I want to drill down a little bit deeper on your days with Stromy. I'm pretty sure you don't remember this, but I had occasion to visit with you in the hallway in the home clubhouse at Minute Maid Park during the 2015 Division Series against Kansas City when you guys lost that series. That was a year you had won 19 games, coming off a huge regular season. And I remember our discussion when you talked about learning from Stromy the old Nolan Ryan stuff of heater up here, breaking ball down here, when you went to a more up and down game. That evolved for you, though. You didn't stay that guy for the rest of your career. Take us back to those conversations you had with Strami and how learning that Nolan Ryan up and down stuff affected your winning.
You really have to be you have to be open to change in the big leagues, because hitters are going to adjust to you. You have to adjust to them. The league is very good, as good as it's ever been, and there's more data on you than ever before in the history of the game. So you're not sneaking up on anybody. But for me, yeah, being able to have a little bit more of a vertical approach, be able to throw high heaters and be able to, off of that with a big curveball, which is what I had in Houston, it kind of opened things up for me. I always tell guys my margin of error went from here, which was, it was nothing when I was just trying to go in, out, sinkers, cutters in New York and Colorado, and really opened up the zone. You're able to use the top third, you're able to use the bottom third. And for me, it just kind of showed me there are different ways to get guys out. And then when I went to the bullpen, I was able to kind of expand the zone east and west a little bit more with a kind of a sweeping slider, and kind of cutter playing off that. So you just got to always be adjusting. And for me, I just try to listen. I try to ask really good questions and listen as much as possible, because there's guys who've been around this game a lot longer than I have who know a lot more than I do.
Just curious, which role did you like better? You had a lot more innings as a starting pitcher, but your ERA out of the pen in your career was, I think, in the mid to high twos. So you were way more effective performance-wise out of the pen. Which role did you enjoy more?
Guys, being a starter in the big leagues is the gig. It is the job. If you can get it and you can keep it, do it. I always say a starter, for me, it was nice because I'm pretty methodical in the way I go about my business off the field. And then during the game, I grew up watching Glavine and Smoltz and Maddox, and these guys were pros, and you knew it as soon as they stepped on the mound. And so that's kind of who I've always modeled my game after. When I got transitioned to the bullpen, I really had to learn. I was drinking from a fire hose down there because I had no idea really what I was doing. I remember talking to guys like Joe Smith and Will Harris and Luke Gregerson in Houston, trying to figure out, what do I do down here? How do I get guys out at this kind of pace? And, they were extremely, extremely formative in me being able to kind of make that adjustment as quickly as I did down there. But for me, I'm always gonna enjoy my starting days and take them for what they were worth. But relieving was the role that I really I felt the most comfortable in for the last 5 or 6 years.
Hey, because your career has intersected, Collin, with a lot of the names we're talking about today on Hall of Fame Day. You faced Adrian Beltre quite a lot in your career. I'm sure you don't need any convincing on his Hall of Fame credentials, but do you have any thoughts on players that are on this year's ballot? Joe Mauer, Billy Wagner, Todd Helton, guys that you would advocate for very strongly?
I mean, there's some names that you just threw out there. All those guys, we have to remember, all these guys were arguably the best at their position for a long stretch of time in the big leagues. And doing that is darn near impossible. I'm looking at the list. You're looking at Adrian Beltre, who I faced a bunch in Texas. Joe Mauer, who I was able to face kind of at the end of his career. Todd Helton, who I played with in his last year with Dan over in Colorado. And then Billy, who I just heard stories about over and over and over again in Houston about what a pro he is and how people can't fathom that he wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. You look at those numbers as well, it's incredible. But I just remember one story about Adrian Gonzalez. I got my first big league hit in LA. I was with Colorado. I got it off of Clayton Kershaw. And so I got to first base, and Adrian's there, and he kind of just nudges me and says, "How does it feel to get a hit off of a Hall of Famer?" And I didn't really know what to say. I was like, "Hey, I appreciate it." And Clayton came up the next inning and bases clearing double off me. So, just things keep going. But he's an incredible player. I loved watching him play, and what a swing from the left side.
That's good, man. Adrian Beltre, by the way, you're not in his book. He got some knocks against you, but never homered against you. So, you're clean there. Collin, we appreciate the visit today, man. Thanks for the time. Congratulations on reaching this stage after a really great career in the sport, and I know we'll be seeing you and hearing from you a lot.